Well folks, we are basically still stuck in the dark world at this point in time, so I don't think there's anything we can do aside from, well, do all kinds of stuff basically. So, hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the one and only Pac-Man here, and I am back for yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, as always. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, for the Super Nintendo / Super Famicom for those of you who lived in Japan, and for the Game Boy Advance as well as a direct port. So, last time we have basically just managed to not only to complete ourselves the third palace in the game, which appears to be by the forms of, well, to be more specifically, Tower of here. Well, despite the fact that it's more accurate at Tower, not so much of the Palace. So, while we're trying to deal with the annoying boss in the game, which appears to be Molodrome even, and even we actually did come across into Akraham for the first time around, and oh no, he's pretty easy to deal with, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, usually we also manage to explore onto the Hyrule Castle Tower itself, so either way though, things to be expected by this point. So today, for this video, is the fact that we're about to be able to explore the majority of the Dark World. Well, not majorly though, because as you can see on the map, that basically we've actually stumbled across the first crystal that we can able to obtain, which is, I think, it's going to be on the exact same location as the forms of in the Eastern Palace, except the fact that now we're on the Dark World at this point right about now, so meaning that we can't do anything around in the Dark World for the majority of the time, for a long while, until we able to actually decide to do all sorts of stuff basically. So in this case though is the fact that, well, we'll just able to actually just follow the correct route to take, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, as far as I'm aware, that the main emphasis on the Dark World's goal is the fact that we need to obtain all 7 of those crystals, which kind of reminds me of about the fact that with the 7 Dragon Balls, and especially noticeable with the 7 Chaos Emeralds. Well, usually I keep thinking about the forms of the Dragon Ball series, as well as the forms of the Sonic the Hedgehog games, basically. So, anywho though, so we'll just, before we get into the actual main emphasis on the forms of been trying to get the first crystal in the game, basically though is the fact that, you see that sign right there? Curses to anyone who throws something into my circle of stones. So, if you pick that up, and then try to carry it while you simply go downstairs, or go down the ladder, and toss it into the circle of those stones, then basically something will happen. Was it you who disturbed my peaceful nap? I will give this to you if you go away. Alright, fine, be that way. And this what appears to be by the forms of the Quake Medallion. Now, for that medallion that we've got, this will be mandatory, by the way, in order to be able to finish the game, which I'll talk more about that until whatever we get into later on throughout the majority of the Let's Play itself, because obviously though that we'll just have to save that discussion for later. So, anywho, today's day is of course the, what day is it today? I honestly still forgot. Because obviously I'm still into the forms of how the fact that, oh, today's day is of course the 9th of February today, in this case in 2022 today. So it looks like about the fact the matter is though, is that you noticed ever since in yesterday, that I recently managed to get started with the forms of Warrior Land 4 Let's Play so far. And hopefully I'll get back into that though for every every Tuesdays and Thursdays for the time being, because obviously ever since about a week ago that, you know, that Sonic the Hedgehog, that he's obviously finished up with Sonic Colors Ultimate. So in this case though is the fact that, yeah, that things goes by very fast for certain playthroughs and stuff like that. So but I digress. So, and still about the fact the matter is though is that Ray the Flying Squirrel is still about to be able to continue things on in Mario Party 7, which, as far as I've already mentioned about that, ever since the new forms have been 2 days ago, since on Monday, that's basically though that he's now moving on to the extra modes in Mario Party 7. So But hopefully by that time until, well, not so much in this month, but maybe next month until before Kirby and the Forgotten Land on the Nintendo Switch will be releasing during that month. Specifically next month, actually. So that way that he might able to actually finish that game off until we move on to Mario Party 8 next, before, you know, we dive right into the latest installment of the Mario Party games. So, anyways, before we progress, so, yeah, you're new here, aren't you? Did you come here looking for the power of gold? Well, you're too late. It will obey only the first person who touches it. The man who last claimed the power of gold wished for this world. It reflects on that, yeah. Yes, I came here because of greed of the golden power, and look what happened to me. Yeah, you get the idea about that. I do apologize if my commentary gets a little bit more hiccupy and such stuff like that, because, well, I'm just feeling a little bit too tired today. But hopefully until likely the next few days or something like that, then I would able to actually just wake myself up and then try to do much more better reading than what I accidentally did. So, oh well. But anyways, let's bash through this wall, and we can able to get ourselves some goodies in here. Well, to be more specifically, just hearts. So, which I think that helps, I guess, because, well, it seems pretty obvious, because, after all, that whenever we're able to restore our health, then basically, though, that we can able to actually use the sword beam technique again, at least in ever since in the Hyrule Castle Tower. So, yeah, that might be something worth to classify for such. So, oh boy, this is where we have to able to navigate for this little tree maze kind of syndrome or something, which I get the feeling, yeah, it's gonna be one of those things. But thankfully though, it might not be that complicated to able to actually go in there, because as you can see, that you can able to actually see where you're going thanks to those little holes that you can able to actually see of what's going on. So yeah, that's kind of handy, I guess. So I suppose I should probably explain about this as well, I think, is the fact that, well, at that time, though, since that helped the fact that, well, as I said, today's day is, of course, the, is it the 9th today? I forgot, because, well, yeah, it's the 9th. So as a result, though, yeah, for the UK time, as far as, CET, oh, what do we have here? I'm Kiki, the monkey Kiki. I love rupees more than anything. Can you spare me 10 rupees? Yeah, I'll give you 10 rupees if that serves to be the case. So, Kiki, good choice. Will accompany you for a while. Kiki. So, yeah, looks like that Kiki is actually going to be following us for the majority of the time on this section. So, yeah, it seems pretty something else, and I get the feeling that the reason why Kiki was here is mainly because of one little thing, and that we can able to actually access to one of the dungeons here. So, darn it! Yeah, if you get hit just once, then you lose Kiki for a little while. So, yeah, we got to backtrack for a bit until we get into this part again, and sure enough, he'll show up again. But here's the thing, though, is the fact that if you really want able to keep Kiki again, well, basically, though, is that you have to keep on, like, paying 10 rupees at a time. So, yeah, screw that enemy right there. So, anyway, so we've made it to this particular thing here. Kiki, if you give me 100 rupees, I will open the entrance for you. Kiki. Yes, absolutely. Good choice. Then I'll get 100 rupees of your rupees. Kiki. Again, I must admit though, I do apologize for that particular text reading error, so I apologize for that. But again, it's all maybe in the next few days, I will start able to improve of doing that, so. Alright, so here we are on the forms of the first dungeon for the sake of the Dark World. And this what appears to be body forms of Dark Palace, according to what the actual palace's name is called. And basically this particular palace, or dungeon as what's known for this, is the fact that, well, basically it has 2 floors. So yeah, it might be self-explanatory, but it will get tough though, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, every now and then is the fact that we're able to come across into, well, as far as Dark World, as far as this is concerned, well, as far as you might already know, about the fact that every now and then, most of those enemies are now, well, a lot more stronger than the forms of how it does it on, well, normal regular enemies. Pac-Man, can you hear me? It's me, Zelda. I am locked in Total Rock on top of Death Mountain. I know you're doing your best, but please hurry. Okay, so thanks for the hint right there. Especially noticeable about the fact that, well, it's not going to be for a little while, because obviously that we need to, well, the actual main emphasis on the Dark World's goal, as I said, is the fact that we need to collect all 7 of those crystals. Well, technically 6, because as far as the 7th one is concerned, well, we'll point it out whenever we get into it. Oh, I hate these guys. It's bad enough about the fact that, well, the green ones is not so bad, but the red ones are just ticking me off. Like, basically, in order to be able to deal with these guys, the green ones, you just have to simply use your sword swings, and that's pretty much about it. The red ones, on the other hand, you can't kill them with your sword. No, the only way you can be able to kill them is to not only try to face straight towards them, but also, get this, you have to use the bow and arrow in order to be able to deal the damage on this guy. So, yeah, unfortunately though, I come across into death, so... yeah, that's why I hate these guys. So, anyway, but let's just hope I can able to just make it through, if I could, as it is. So, anyway, another thing I want to explain about this as well, that, well, I suppose I should probably be able to discuss on this right about now, although I will mention about that again until tomorrow, whenever I get back into, Warrior Land 4. That, basically, though, is the fact that until, specifically, if I were classified for saying until likely, on this particular weekend, or no, it was actually going to be on Friday, actually. That, basically, is the fact that one of these episodes in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Hearts and Hoofs Day, will eventually become a decade old, which, gee, I can't even believe time flies all of a sudden, which, it seems to be the case, for the sake of the forms of the majority of Season 2 has almost come towards the end, for the sake of the forms of the 10th anniversary of certain episodes of looking back, but I will still say that Season 2 is probably the greatest season ever, along with the forms of other seasons as well. So, yeah, let me know in the comments below, for the bronies out there, for the question of the day. What was your absolute favorite season in terms of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? Well, I'd like to hear your thoughts, because it's kind of hard for me to be able to pick which one is the absolute favorite of mine, for, in terms of seasons and stuff like that. I think, personally, for me, it might actually be Season 4, just because of the Season 4 finale is, like, intense and epic in almost every way. Especially noticeable in the finale portion, it has, like, a similar Dragon Ball Z kind of, fighting style between, Twilight Sparkle versus T-Rex or Lord T-Rex. So, yeah, that is the most epic moment, I think, for the sake of the forms of that season. So, anyways, let's catch some more fairies into one of our bottles, so just in case we can able to actually just use them automatically if we somehow come across death. So, anyways, I think we should be okay from here. So, yeah, that should be alright. So we'll just go ahead and use the bombs so that we can... Oh, you remember these little things that we've already technically saw from ever since in the Light World version of Death Mountain? Well, basically though, is the fact that we need that specific item in order to able to actually just to progress. But that's not going to be for a long while. But, if you use the magic mirror, as you can see right there, this allows me to able to actually go all the way back to the beginning of the dungeon, so that way you don't need to worry about the forms of getting locked and all that stuff though, or in this case, about to get stuck on the forms of certain puzzles or certain rooms for that matter. So, I suggest you're able to actually use the magic mirror, just in case if you're about to able to miss something, then by all means you can use that. So, although, unlike in the overworld, specifically Dark World and the Light World of Hyrule, basically though, it allows you to able to teleport onto different versions of the actual, the overworld itself. So, But I digress. And also I found out is the fact that I can assure to you that the music is a bit different this time around though. I can assuring anyway. Because as far as I'm aware that we've already come across into the actual Powers theme music. I would say for about 3 times. Specifically in the Light World version of the Hyrule itself. Although I may be wrong. But even then though, because it's been quite a few days since I actually just managed able to last play this, so... Oh god, these fireball objects. I hate these things in this game specifically because they are, I'm not gonna lie, pretty unpredictable at times. But thankfully though, if you managed able to have your second upgrade, or in this case the first upgrade for your shield, basically though, you can actually be protected by the forms of too many fireballs. So, I guess that's that. So anyway, let's just toss that somewhere. And now we can able to actually just go upstairs. Back to the first floor as we go. And grab something in this chest, which is the big key. So now we need to find the big chest. So that way we can able to get... Well, what else? The important item that we can able to progress. And also, some of these enemies, like these ones right there, basically, you can't deal with these guys at the moment because we need that specific item in order able to actually just to stun them. But that again, though, we'll point it out whenever we get into it. Oh god! Some more Stelvos! Kill it! Kill it! Kill it! Oh, wait a second, they now have floating heads around. But thankfully we managed to avoid those in time. So anyways, let's just go back up. Actually, is this the right way? Or I'm keep thinking of something else? I think I somehow went backwards for a little bit. But thankfully though, we managed to able to actually just warp ourselves back to the very beginning of this particular dungeon. So, I digress. So, anyway, and also, one thing I should probably need to mention about something related to today, about the fact of the matter is, though, that since that, Wario vs. Waluigi, tour has now officially ended, which I'll talk with more details about my final thoughts of that tour, specifically until, on this particular, coming Friday, because as far as I'm aware, that earlier today that we immediately actually access to the next tour, which appears to be we actually going back into Los Angeles tour again, except now, like I already mentioned about this before, ever since on Monday, that in addition to able to discussing upon you know, more updates on you know, Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics, but also the actual the winter trios of tours that the next tour, which is today, which is going to be Los Angeles tour, and basically it'll able to actually featuring Judging Chuck as a new playable character in a Mario Kart game. So yeah, because as far as I already said this before, that, you know, that was after the release of Mario Golf Super Rush, where basically that game also has Judging Chuck as a playable character, but he was actually unlocked from the start, whilst unlike certain other characters on that game, usually it's been unlocked by certain free updates. So, still have no idea why they're going for this system for certain Switch games every now and then. Like, they did this like 4 times so far for the sake of the forms of the Switch's lifespan. Like, for example, I think the first time they ever do this was in the forms of Kirby Star Allies, if I could assuring so, and also Mario Tennis Aces, and Animal Crossing New Horizons, and Mario Golf Super Rush, but let's just hope that another one of those Nintendo Switch games will not feature a continuous free update, so able to actually get expansive content, but I digress. So here we are, we actually stumbled across the big chest and we've actually got a magic hammer, which basically this allows you to able to actually just well, use the hammer in all kinds of different ways you can able to use the item. Like for instance, you know with these little like turtle-like enemies that we've actually stumbled across into earlier? Normally we can't deal with them with a simple sword swing, but rather we can able to actually use the hammer in order to able to cause something like an earthquake, or is it just like a hammer slam that basically you can able to actually tumble them over, and then you can able to deal the amount of damage on them. So, and also, you know, with these little strange like face objects that you've come across into Familiar 1 in this particular dungeon. Well, I'll show this to you later, because that's how you essentially get to deal with these enemies, as you can see. That we have to use the magic hammer to stun them, and that way you can able to actually just do more sword sweeps on that, and then basically that deals with them. So, pretty simple and easy enemies to deal with, so... But I digress. So we got the compass, so I'm not exactly sure if this was gonna be like worth it for the sake of the compass, as a matter of fact, because obviously I'm pretty sure that we've almost nearly at the end for the sake of the forms of this entire dungeon itself. Although, mind you though, is the fact that every now and then, unlike the light world for the sake of the forms of certain palaces, or including Tower of Hia, or Huria, basically though is the fact that every now and then the dungeon's length can get a little bit more longer. So because of that though, we'll try to able to experiment with it, and especially noticeable about the fact that, well, usually relatively speaking, I might as well be comfortable for the sake of likely trying to deal with this length. So, anyways, let's keep on moving, and obviously we can't do anything in there, apart from the fact that we can use the Burrowing in order able to activate that switch, so just in case we can progress. Although I'm not exactly sure if this is the right way, but I guess I'm also able to confess about the fact that which specific directions I'll go to, but yeah, I think I should probably head back, because I think... Oh wait, hold on a second, I think I'm in the wrong way, so... I'll try to think about another way to able to actually just to... Well, because I know for the fact that I was missing quite a few items here and there, so I'm just gonna have to backtrack for a bit. Ah, jeez, I got exploded. Okay, we'll just deal with it from here, I think. Wait, it doesn't seem to work. So, I'm just gonna use the magic mirror for now, so just go back to the very beginning of the actual... the dungeon itself. Although, thankfully though, basically though, the puzzles, despite the fact that you still need to solve them, thankfully though, the items you've collected, basically does not restart at all. So, I guess that's a good thing, so... Alright, so we'll just, go back in there again, and try to jump off that edge, and then we can progress. And also another thing as well, that until next week, as I said, ever since on Monday, that next week we're able to actually get into the third of one of those winter tours for that time. Basically though is the fact that we'll stumble across the Sky Tour, which I was really looking forward to that though, because as far as I've already seen the photo or the actual the image of the actual thing already, and it does seem to be more accurately, like I said before. It appears to be we're actually going back into another Game Boy Advance track that we're all too familiar with ever since in not only Mario Kart Super Circuit, but also Mario Kart DS as a retro track that we're actually going to be going back into, let's just say, Sky Garden. But then again, no, we'll point it out until specifically, well, let's just say in the next 2 weeks' time, I should say. So, because for some reason or another, I keep thinking about next week, but maybe I just get carried away with all the news and updates or anything. So, yeah, I do apologize for that misleading stuff like this. But, then again, like I said, eventually until the next few parts of this, then I should able to actually make my commentary just to felt a little bit more better, because, wow. Oh, jeez, I always get cornered by these enemies right here. Oh, God. Okay, we need to get that heart. Okay, there we go. And we can grab another one, just one after the other. And we can probably use this to activate that switch again, and I think we should be all set when it comes to likely, well, we've almost maxed out our rubies count until all the way back up to 999 again, but either way though, I honestly have no words to say, so... Alright, so let's use this particular statue thingy to place it onto one of those switches. So just in case we can get some progressioning. So alright, so we'll just use the bow and arrow just in case if there are enemy counters such as these, we're able to make their comeback. So yeah, I'm just still not a big fan of trying to do up the red variations because, well, most of the time though, it's just the fact that they are easily the most annoying enemies I have to go through, along with the other ones as well that will come across into one of those enemies until specifically on the later portion of the game. But let's not mention about that right now because as far as I'm usually concerned, oh god, but I still somehow get hit right there. But oh well, and this is what we have to use the bow and arrow for. And that way, the wall starts moving. It does kind of almost reminds me of that particular scene in Luigi's Mansion. That basically, if you activate something on that particular wall, basically it allows you to able to progress, I think. So, anyways, let's go downstairs. And you know these things right there? Like I said, you know, with these weird faces? Well, that's what the hammer comes in. And basically, though, you can able to actually smack one of those little face-like things, and then basically you can able to actually progress. And I believe that, unlike the forms of how it does it on A Link Between Worlds on the Nintendo 3DS, basically you can able to use these guys, as in you can able to actually just to launch yourself upwards, but that's only for the fact that we can able to actually just to go on a higher level. Whilst in here though, they just simply get smacked and it allows you to go through and that's it. So yeah, I can usually decide able to compare this game to A Link Between Worlds on the 3DS. But I wish I would like to able to do A Link Between Worlds at some point. Maybe at some point next year, marks the forms of the 10th anniversary of the game. But either way though, I'm not exactly sure if I was gonna able to predicted that yet, so. But then again, we'll see what happens until next year, if it's a bit too early to discuss, so. Anyway, so let's clear out more of those enemies here, so just in case we can able to progress to the next room. So, now I believe whenever we get into the next room, I believe there might be a teleport pad that we can able to actually just try to find. And that way, as you can see, we found one in here. And that way, I could assure you, it'll take you onto the exact same room as when you're able to actually collect certain rupees and stuff. So, yeah, that was the room I was on about that. Well, almost anyway, so. And somehow we made it towards the very end of this dungeon. So, in this case, let's see what boss fight we are facing against. Which appears to be body forms of Helen Monster, or Helen Sor King. Which basically though is the fact that in order to deal with this guy, and that is the fact that we need to use the magic hammer in order to able to break his mask, and that way you got to deal with quite a few hits with the magic hammer. But as soon as you're able to get rid of the actual the mask itself, basically though he'll able to actually reveal the actual true face. That basically though there's this weak spot that appears to be like a green little thing right there. And basically though you have to do some sword swings right here, and then you got to be very careful of multitude of attacks, especially noticeable every now and then on certain boss fights. They've now managed to able to include spikes, so yeah, I guess it's kind of like, it does almost reminds me of something almost entirely related to Mega Man 4 for certain spike placements here and there. But anyway, after enough hits on it, then basically not only do we get ourselves our next heart container, like most dungeons or palaces if you will, but also we've now reached up to 11 heart containers now, and we got ourselves the first crystal. So yeah, basically that pretty much concludes the Dark Dungeon, or to be more specifically, the Dark Powers, that's what it's called. And basically, we've rescued one of those 7 wise men. Pac-Man, because of you, I can escape from the clutches of the evil monsters. Thank you. This world used to be the Golden Land where the Triforce was hidden. But because Ganon, the boss of thieves, wished the world was transformed. I'm sure he's attending to conquer even our light world after building his power here. He is trying to open a larger gate between worlds near the castle using our powers. But the gate is not open completely yet. If we 7 maidens come together, we can break the barrier around Ganon's hidden place. I will tell you where the other girls were head. I believe you will destroy Ganon. I will return to my original form at that time. Do you understand? Yes. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce. Alright, so we got the first crystal, and as soon as we leave this particular dungeon, well, as soon as we're able to actually get out of this, or look at the map, as you can see, 6 more crystals has been labeled on the map. Now, as you can see, it does shows you the numbers of which specific crystal you got to go after first. So for this particular run through, for the sake of the forms of the crystals department, we'll try to go in the correct order. Because, you know, just like in several other Let's Plays of The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past, that I always attempt to go into the actual correct order for the sake of certain playthroughs. Although, it doesn't matter if it's up to the player, because you can able to actually tackle through certain dungeons at any way you go, because as far as I'm aware, that's basically that I'll give you an example, is the fact that, well, I'm probably not going to discuss on that right about now, but until likely for the next few weeks, for more continuation of this playthrough, then basically I'll try to tell you the example of that until later on, so. Alright, so we'll just keep on moving forward, and then basically though we'll try to able to go down here, so just in case we'll try to ignore those enemies, assuming if you're able to deal with some of the whole bunch of enemies and stuff. So, and yeah, since we've now actually got the magic hammer, so this means we can now able to actually continue progressioning for the sake of the forms of the Dark World itself. So, pretty awesome and pretty cool at the same time. So, anyway, so before we continue with all that stuff though, we need to double check on certain things. Specifically, we just need able to actually see certain areas that we haven't explored yet, or some of the time is the fact that we're able to actually just to do, what else? A lot of exploration. So anyways, let's use the magic mirror on here, because I can assure you about the fact that we might able to come across into one of those items that might actually come in handy one day. Still saying the same dialogue as before, but I kinda wish I just need that specific useful item. Or can I go in here? Oh yeah, bingo, I was wondering about that. So here we have the magic powder, and basically what the magic powder can do, well, I think I'll try to mention more about that until whenever we get into the later portion of the game, because I'm afraid that I've almost running out of time, although mind you though, I've only got a few minutes of recording left for this part to go, but again, I do apologize if my commentary gets a little bit more iffy at points, but then again, like I said, I will able to try my best to able to actually discuss on more infos and stuff like that until the next few days, because honestly, I have no words to say, because as far as well, I've already mentioned about a lot of things ever since about the other day, since, you know, like I said, I've already mentioned about a lot of stuff has been happening for the sake of the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics, and also the Mario Kart Tour events is going to be up. So in this case though, like I said, we're now on to the Los Angeles tour again, but this time with Judging Chuck as a new playable character. So, but until, like I said, about 2 weeks time that we will come across into the Sky Tour, which I was really looking forward to that, but we'll see what happens during the next few days. And this is where we come across into the Dark World version of Link's house, but somehow it changes into a bomb shop. Although there's nothing in there just yet though, until specifically towards the very end of the game. So we'll just have to save that conversation until for later, so... Anyway, so the next thing we'll able to actually go into is this particular section there, where basically that's the way to the second dungeon of the Dark World. But before we get into that though, we need to head over here, and basically though we will try to find something that is kind of important, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, basically relatively speaking, after dealing with the whole bounty of enemies that we can take out, and yeah, and by the way, if you manage to get hit by certain enemy encounters in Dark World, like I said, they're all kind of strong every now and then, so because of that though, you will take a lot of damage if you're not careful, so... Anyways, use the magic mirror from here, and basically, if we go in this way, we'll stumble across this particular language there. And if we use the actual, the Book of Mandora, basically though, we were able to actually activate something that is super satisfying, but also, I believe this is going to be another medallion that we can get. This, what appears to be body forms of bombos, which appears to be it's like an explosion kind of magic spell. So I think it's entirely optional if you decide to go for that particular medallion, although unlike in Quake Medallion as well as the other medallion, that the two medallions are the most mandatory in order the mandatory items you can get for the sake of progressioning towards the very end of the game, whilst the one of them, which is bombos, like I said, it's usually optional. So aside from the fact that it actually gives you like a massive explosion attack range, so at least as far as I can usually try to describe that particular medallion. So anyways, let's dash forward here. I was expecting to get some hearts, but whatever. Oh, there's that little fella right here. After wandering into this world, I turn into this strange thing. Although, mind you, I do apologize for my text reading error, so I do apologize for that. So, yeah, he's trying to tell us about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, he's buried his flute, so, yeah, we got able to find it for him, so... And basically, he'll give us a shovel that we can able to just dig around. So, yeah, this is the shovel, by the way, and basically you can able to actually dig up on stuff. So, even in this case, though, that's the most important thing we need to find is just the flute itself. So, in this case though, we'll just warp back onto the light world quickly because, well, I just get a feeling that, oh, looks like he was playing a flute. Oh, wait a second, he's disappearing. Ah, he's gone. But, if we decide able to actually use the shovel, then we can just dig up, and then if you're trying to dig onto, let's just say, this, no wait, the next one. Come on, thank you. As you can see, we've stumbled across the flute ourselves. So basically though, we can able to actually use that for, certain stuff we can able to actually use for this flute. But, yeah, before we head back on to, actually, kind of think about it, let's just head back into the Dark World quickly, so just in case if there are quite a few things I would like to explore onto the Dark World, because usually most of the time we've already experienced the Light World for quite long enough, ever since the very beginning of the game, but now the majority of the playthrough, like I said, is going to be most likely takes place in Dark World, because obviously that we still need to get more crystals needs to be found. But anyways, there is that ring of flowers that we can able to entering into by using the magic mirror, and that way we're able to go into this cave. And basically, this will give us not only more parts to break and toss, but also another piece of heart. So, yeah, pretty swell, I have to say. Alright, so now we've done with that, and let's head back into the Dark World. So just in case that we can able to just, you know, explore around and all that stuff though, including just trying to able to prepare ourselves by able to actually just well, just trying to be prepared for the next dungeon in the Dark World. So after clearing out more enemy encounters, so anyway, so I don't think we can able to actually deal with the forms of that. Oh, what the heck is up with that thing? Quit bothering me and watch where you're going when you dash around. Oh, okay, so, sorry to bother you, Mr. Talking Tree, that you just spit out bombs here and there. Jeez. Anyway, so we'll just, carry this rock and then just keep on progressing forward. I got to admit though right away, I do really like the actual Dark World music, especially noticeable about the fact that it's quite atmospheric, so... Anyway, so, since that we've actually made it to the second dungeon in the Dark World, I think suffice to say, we'll pretty much get out the endings off at this point right here. So join me next time on more of Let's Play of The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. That is the fact that we'll go ahead and get started with the second dungeon in the Dark World. This world appears to be body forms of, well, I would say the Swamp Palace. So I'll see you guys then. Later, fellas.